Hello once again, Stuart Webb back for a post-auto assembly YouTube video this time. Now you're probably thinking, that last one he did, it was charmingly amateur, but surely if he's doing another one, it'll be more professional, better made, he'll put his experience to good use. No, it's just going to be more of the same, slightly poorly made video. So apologies in advance for that. I learned a few from my mistakes. But now I'm back to auto assembly on Monday. Another fantastic convention, good fun. Got to have nice conversations with a whole lot of people, both guests and attendees, ranging from talking to Jim Sorensen, and him being only the second celebrity I've ever spoken to where I have been the one to make me excuses and leave. The other one being Brian Blessed. Jim is a man full of huge energy and passion. You could probably power a country off him. I just felt it was a shame I had to go off and do something else at that point. Ranging from that, ranging to a woman I was talking to at the bar at one point, who had come there specifically to give James Roberts some chocolate M&Ms, for which she got a hug in return, and she was deeply excited to have been touched by him, both literally and metaphorically. Ranging to meeting people I've known for years but never met as well. So it was people like Denya and Night Drayman. Just fantastic, fun weekend. The only real flaw with it, and it wasn't a flaw of a convention, but the hotel, was that they didn't have enough staff on to cope with not just us, but the quilt convention. And I think there were at least 2 different wedding receptions on over that weekend. And they should have known in advance how many people paid for breakfast and how much space they were going to need for that. And they should have had at least 2 or 3 more people on the bar. And I know from talking to some of the staff, they were as pissed off about that as we were. They had a needlessly stressful weekend because of a slightly poor decision by their management not just to get a few temps in or something like that. They were very stressed. On the Saturday, I actually pretty much witnessed one member of staff have a breakdown on the morning when I went into the bar, because he'd been serving till late on the Friday night, and he pretty much started whimpering, going, "Dear God, no, not more Transformers fans." Which made Denya, who hadn't been there on Friday, wonder what exactly we'd all been doing to do this poor man. But other than that, a very well run event, run convention, a lot of good stuff, and I'm definitely looking forward to next year. Now I'm not going to show off all the tat I got, because there's a lot of it, ranging from the brilliant masterpiece Swipe to the slightly rubbish yet still strangely entertaining Generations Thunderwing, who turns from a robot into a robot with his knees uphold by his face and the cardboard cutout of the back of an airplane on his back. But the main things that I thought particularly interesting were the 2 convention toys, the first ever auto assembly convention toys, which I'm no expert on the jump starters, but apparently these are based on recolours that somewhere like Mexico or Brazil or Wales got. Orange and black. They have names and personalities based on Basil and Manuel from Fawlty Towers, for no readily apparent reason. But obviously that is actually, got to get the names right because I can never quite tell them apart. That's Twin Twist when he's in the Aquitus Chamber. I've almost certainly pronounced that wrong. In the Justice Computer, glowing as he absorbs all that stuff from there. And that's Topspin after he's been tortured to death. Because obviously Transformers, they turn black when they die. So that's 2 of the last stand of the Wreckers. And as I also got Springer and Rotorstorm. And as I already had Couple of Perceptor, I've pretty much got the whole crew there. I just need to get Iron Fist, which I will be when the third-party version comes out, and a pyro, which made me drag it down the BotCon toy. It's just a shame there isn't an Impactor toy. No, there is no Impactor toy. Don't mention that hideous one. But the surprisingly good toy of a convention, though, goes to Trailbreaker. I wasn't expecting much of him. He's actually really fun. He overcomes the problems of the later, more recent generation toys have been smaller and made of lighter plastic, and he's just kind of fun. He's got a massive force field generator, and he's pulling his force field face, and so that's definitely made me quite happy, that one, which I wasn't expecting to such an extent. In terms of other stuff, as well as various things signed, I got the Daily Straxus collection from Mr. Andrew Turnbull. Very funny, a lovely fan-made product. If you go Google the Daily Straxus, it's all available to read online as well, and it's very funny. So I'd recommend that. And then go buy his published versions as well. And also this year, a very nice, another very nice Chris Carter print of little Target 2006 homage, which is pretty cool. And in terms of getting things signed, I got the Volume 8 hardback signed. I owned it because of Chaos Theory. Let us not speak of the other comics in there. But very nice little Optimus Prime sketch from Alex Milne on there. Which, considering he was how many sketches he and all the artists were doing over the weekend, he didn't need to draw another sketch there. He probably would rather have not. So the fact he did was pretty cool of him. And see, it's exactly as professional as the first video, isn't it? Come on. There we go. James Roberts, who I've now met him enough over the last 3 or 4 Water Assemblies for him to recognise me. Which makes the stalking him thing much harder. Though luckily I am not stalking him. I did not give him chocolate M&Ms. I'm not at that level of crazy. But the script for issue 6 of More Than Meets the Eye, signed by James and Nick. Again, brilliantly, densely written, with some more notes done in a slightly different, slightly more professional way this year as well. Just a little bit more effort put into the presentation, which is a nice, cool little extra detail. I think the most interesting thing I learned from this is that at one stage when it was being planned, Fortress Maximus was going to be killed at the end of this issue. So, see, James doesn't just kill all the characters. Sometimes he can step back. And particularly Nick Roach as well, he was selling some prints. 2 very cool ones. There's this one of the Lost Light Crew, which he did for last year. Ironically, if he'd been doing it this year, he'd have saved himself some work, because there'd be a few less characters on it. But that's very cool. And I love how expressive these are as well. And there's one of he did for this year of the villains for More Than Meets the Eye. They don't have a name as a group. I just call them the Bastards. But again, just lovely expressive. I especially love, I don't know how well it shows up on here, just Misfire's face. It's fantastic. And again, if people want those, Nick Roach is on Twitter. I'm sure if he's got any stock left, he'd be more than happy to sell them to interested people. But the big thing for me, the exciting thing, as I go out of shot again and make a funny noise, is this, which I will hold up the right way as well. A piece of original art from More Than Meets the Eye issue 6, signed by James and Nick. It's of Fortress Maximus having a disagreement with Whirl. It's just absolutely fantastic. So much detail. And when I buy sequential art, I like to get a balance between having a sort of a nice big picture so it looks good when hung on the wall, but still being obviously from a comic rather than a poster. And I think that that meets that nicely. It's just brilliant. And when I brought that and got James and Nick to sign it, we had a great little chat about all the various bits of Marvel art we own as well, which was it was a really nice faddish moment between the three of us. Nick Roach owns the last few pages of Time Wars. The lucky, well, bastard. But despite all that stuff, all that great stuff, the one thing that every single person loved, every single person was keen to get, to hug, to hold, the highlight of the entire convention really, the Swerve Behemoth. My God, children, this is the promised land. That's mine. I got one for a friend. I had James sign, but I decided my own one I would keep fresh and pure because of its brilliance. And they will never top that. That is the best thing ever. Also this year, the convention comic went digital only. And I know Water Assembly were particularly happy about that, but I thought it worked well. Read well on my tablet. And the two comics there were great. So hopefully they'll continue to be of that standard. Chris Carter again and Ed Perry, whose name I've probably said wrong, both did a top job there. So that's my post-Auto Assembly video. Probably, if anything, now I finish it, slightly more amateurish than the first one. But I hope you've enjoyed. Hope the people who were there this year had a good time. I hope people who are thinking about maybe going next year will go. Because they've got a whole load of good guests there. David Sobolov, I've almost certainly said that wrong. And various others. So hopefully we'll all be back in 2014 and we'll have another really good one. But it'll now be 12 months before I do another one of these videos, so you won't have to worry about having them inflicted upon you again.